Younes from the new Civil Liberties Alliance is here. Jenin, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Jenin, what amazes me, first off, is the lack of mainstream media coverage on this story. You would think Republicans certainly want to know about, but Democrats should want to know about this too. Are you amazed that everyone seems to be refusing to cover this story?
I am a little bit surprised, although I hope some of the information that's coming out today as a result of our deposition of Elvis Chan last week might change that a little bit.
Why don't you tell us about that, Jenin?
So we deposed Elvis Chan in a case in which we're representing several plaintiffs who alleged that they were censored on social media for their views about COVID, so a little bit different. And they're arguing that it was at the federal government's behest. The tech companies were being pressured. But part of the lawsuit is alleging that the Hunter Biden laptop story was also likewise suppressed at the behest of the government, especially the FBI. So we deposed Chan last week, and there were some very interesting things from that interview. Most notably, it's very clear that under the guise of this being Russian information, the FBI pressured the tech companies to censor it, and to censor it very quickly so that nobody had a chance to see it at all.
Well, it certainly seems to me that it's been absolutely proven that the contents of the Hunter Biden laptop are true. Hunter Biden himself doesn't even really dispute any of that. Then you get into the aspect that if you believe it's true, or even the assumption that it could be true, you've got Joe Biden, the 10% for the big guy. You've got Hunter Biden working deals with a Chinese spy chief, Russian and Ukrainian oligarchs, and yet the judicial system, specifically the FBI, runs cover for Joe Biden. That, to me, says that is the Justice Department weaponized by the Biden administration?
That's very interesting. And of course, this happened under Trump. So it is a little bit strange. It looks as though they were basically acting as an arm of the DNC or the Biden campaign in order to get the story suppressed because it looked very bad for Biden. But I think it should concern all Americans, regardless of their political stripes, that we have the government censoring, suppressing crucial information that Americans deserve to know. That is a First Amendment violation.
The media not reporting on certain things is just as bad as false reporting on things by omitting it. That's a First Amendment issue, too, isn't it, Jenin?
Well, right. And it's not just the media not reporting on things. It's the fact that when the media was reporting on things, it was censored. So this story was actually broke by the New York Post in, I believe, October 4th, 2020. But because of the FBI's attempt to convince the tech companies that it was hacked materials, so the FBI had first convinced the tech companies to change their terms of service to censor hacked materials, so-called hacked materials that appeared to be Russian disinformation. So then the FBI essentially went in and told them that this was hacked materials, warned them that this dump was coming. There's some actually conflicting evidence as to whether they specifically said the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation, or whether they just said there was a big story coming that was Russian disinformation. But regardless, the fact that the FBI got the tech companies to censor the New York Post and any other story reporting on this matter is a grave constitutional concern.
Yeah, it sure is. And when you look at the FBI and the media basically working in conjunction, add in these big tech companies, stories were censored. We know that they were. This New York Post story, as you mentioned, was censored. Thank God for Elon Musk, because though I knew all of this was going to come out, the confirmation is really helpful on this, isn't it, Jenin? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, it is. It is good to have this. And actually, one of the really interesting things that's coming out with this deposition is that it's showing, we're learning a little bit about who's lying and who's telling the truth, because some of what Chan said is actually conflicting with some of the stuff that we're getting from Musk. So that should be good material for this lawsuit down the road.
Well, it's important work that you're doing there. We are appreciative of you exposing a lot of this stuff and the First Amendment implications that really affects everybody from both sides of the aisle. Jenin, Younes, we appreciate you coming on. We'll get you back on here real soon. Thank you. Well, now we turn to Eric.